This video is designed to show you how to use Excel to map data. So I've got some basic data here that I collected from my year 7 students. So we've got which yard it is in my school. We've got the different year groups have different yards. We collected 5 samples in each site. I've got the latitude and longitude, and then the students went round with handheld meters and collected some temperature data, some wind speed data, relative humidity, and then by eye judge the cloud cover in Octus. So we've got some basic data. Just to show you how to get the latitude and longitude first. Here we've got the 5 sites around my school. Okay, and I've just used the pin tool on Google My Maps. And if you drop a pin in, I'll show you how to do that. So I've dropped the pin in there. I can save that. It's got the latitude and the longitude here. So you can copy that. And if we go back to the Excel file, I'll just drop that information in here. Now you'll note it's all gone into one cell as 2 bits of information. So we can split that up. I'm going to leave it highlighted. You might have a couple of bits of data, you know, or multiple bits of data. But there, if we go to data, text to columns, and there we're going to delimit the data. So we just click on next, and we've got the comma sign there. We can just split the data up. So what that's done, I'll just make that a little bit bigger. It's put the latitude and the longitude in separate places so that Excel can read it. The next step is to map the data. So I can select latitude, longitude, temperature, wind speed, relative humidity and cloud cover. Okay, and Excel have recently moved their mapping tool to this button here, data model. Okay, so there we go. If we click on the down arrow, it says 3D map, and we can click on that. Just wait for it to load. And there we can see it's opened a map, and it's actually already found those data points for my school on there. If it doesn't, you can add the latitude and the longitude in the location block here. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of overlap between the bars. There, if we click on the layer options, we can reduce the size. So I'll just take them right down so you can see there. Those are individual points of data that my students have collected. Okay, and then in this height field here, you can see we've got the data. So if I clicked on wind speed, that has graphed all of the different wind speeds for those points. Now they are massive on there, so you might want to bring in the layer options again. We'll go back in there. We can reduce the height down, and then you can see on there it's mapped the different wind speeds for our school as individual bars that the students could look at. You can do other things in the layer options, like you could change the color. Okay, and then up in the themes, if you wanted to look at the area through a satellite image, you could do that. Take the height down a little bit more. Okay, and there I've got a nice image for the students that they can see the wind speed on the data. The other thing you might want to do, I could turn those into, using these tools up here, a heat map. And again, if I just take the radius of influence down, that shows me where those wind speeds are at their highest in the yards of my school. So 2 different options to map the data. Last thing on this, that's layer 1. I can edit that as wind speed. And I can actually then add a second layer. Okay, so I'll just zoom that back round. So I could add a second layer. Still zooming in on my school, and this time I could add a different bit of data. So I might have the temperature data as bars, and then within the layer options, do the same again. Take down the thickness, take down the height, and there, as you can see underneath, we've got the wind speeds. Okay, and I've got the temperature marked as bars. Probably it'd be more appropriate if the bars were a heat map. Okay, because I want the temperature as a heat map, and then the wind speed, I'm going to take that back to a bar graph, and there the students could have a look and see if there's any relationship between the two. But that is how to map data using using Excel as a tool. Hope that is useful to you.